Hi everyone, this is Neel Raithatha, consultant audiologist and director of Clearwax. Thank you for joining me in my latest video using the iClearscope endoscope. And here we have a patient who attended with bilateral, fully occluding and severely impacted earwax. And this is their right ear, this is the better ear out of the two. I will upload their left ear procedure tomorrow, I do promise. And I'll give you a case history. So this patient was treated twice by another local specialist. And after the second attempt, the specialist just recommended that the patient come to see myself because it was quite a complex procedure. And it was a difficult case because it was so impacted. You can see there's quite a few hairs at the entrance. The ear canal at the entrance in particular is a bit narrow as well. And so this patient booked in to see myself. And I started off with microsuction, but the surface of the wax was just a bit too dry. It was too flat. So to me, it looks like it's been impacted. And when you've got a flat surface, it's always difficult to perform microsuction. But we are managing to get a few pieces away. But ultimately, I relied upon the right angled ear hook. And I kind of threw the kitchen sink at it, really. The only instrument I didn't use was forceps because it would be difficult to grasp onto a piece of the wax. There was a bit at the floor of the ear canal. But it would have meant the bottom jaw of the forceps would have been gliding up against the ear canal wall. So if I can avoid that wherever possible, I will, because believe you me, the osseous portion of the ear canal, the inner 2/3, is highly sensitive. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I've had trauma to my ear canal when I was younger, and I can still relive that pain if I think about that incident. So the last thing I want to do is inflict that on my patients. So this wax has almost got a chewing gum consistency, and if you wait till the end, you'll see a still image. And I promise you, it's not one to miss. So I've just instilled some more drops. Now this patient's been using drops for the last couple of weeks prior to their previous treatment appointments with the specialist. But the drops just wasn't really doing much. And in fact, with this case, because their left ear took so long, I commenced with their right ear, but I was already over the allotted slot. So, and my next patient was waiting in the waiting area. So I just kindly asked the patient if they wouldn't mind just taking a seat in the waiting area. I don't want to keep my other clients waiting because, it's not fair on them as well. The patient was fine to do that because we don't want to rush it as well. The worst thing you can do is if you're running behind, you don't want to be tempted to rush a procedure because ultimately it's someone's ear. There's a lot at risk here. So got the patient back. The client who I saw in between this patient's right and left ear, I was literally less than 5 minutes, and this patient came back in and kind of just laughed and giggled. So I was like, that's how long it's supposed to be, isn't it? I goes, well, most of the time, yeah, but we do have some exceptions. So I've just now using the right angled ear hook. I used the correct before, and although I managed to navigate the ear hook over the top of the wax plug and the roof of the ear canal, the superior aspect, when I then turned the hook, so when I rotated it to penetrate it with the end tip, it kind of just diced through the wax. So here I purposely didn't rotate. I was trying to have more surface area. I was trying to use the side arm of the ear hook to kind of leverage it out, but it wasn't really successful. So I'm just going back to microsuction. What I was hoping to do is just lift this off the anterior canal wall slightly, so I can navigate into that gap with the correct or the ear pick. But it just wasn't budging there, so I've just gone back to the floor. You can see because it was lifted slightly, and sometimes you can be quite lucky. You can get a suction grip at the floor of the plug, and you can almost leverage it out with the suction tip, but this wasn't playing game. So it's this section that I feel is impacted. It's more sunken in, and whenever you see a wax plug or keratin plug that's sunken in, it normally suggests that it's been pushed in. Either with a Q-tip or someone wears sleep plugs or hearing aids. So this is the ear pick. Now, it wasn't initially successful in terms of extracting the plug, but again, it was dicing it up into smaller pieces, which I could then suction away and that's one method of removing a wax plug like this. You just break it into little pieces. It takes a while, and every time you dissect a piece, you re-enter with microsuction and mop that up, and you go back again with the ear hook or the ear pick in this case. But I will in a minute be able to leverage this out. So almost got it there, but I don't think it's quite, it's not in this shot. I think I'm going to revert back to suction for a moment, or even the correct, but I will re-enter with the ear pick. And then on that occasion I was able to. So occasionally it just got a bit blurry. That's just because this patient's got loads of hairs at the entrance. So where I need to position the endoscope in order to retract open the ear and visualize the wax, there's loads of hairs there, so it's difficult to avoid. But it wasn't really, from a viewing pleasure, I can imagine some comments about it, but in terms of procedurally, this is the things that we have to combat and overcome when you're performing procedures. It's not all going to be straightforward. You're not always going to get this optimal view. So just again going to the roof, and it was really cemented there. It was really adhered to the roof of the ear canal. And I don't know if it's now when I use the pick. Now it's the smallest. Well, there's not really much of an opening there, so I'm using the tip of the ear pick to penetrate into this plug, and I've gone in a bit deeper with it, and now I'm leveraging it. And I was a bit worried that, like with the ear hook earlier and with the ear pick, that this will just cut through it, but I've managed to get a good leverage, and you can see the plug is now slowly but surely coming to the entrance. And Eureka, we've managed to prise that out of the ear. You can see it's got this white peripheral matrix, almost like a keratosis obtrans. I mean, I suspect this has got a high keratin content, because if you look at this still image at the end, there's a section of the wax where you can see ribbons of skin coiled over itself. So just a bit of dead skin around the edge. I'm just trying to mop this up as much as possible. I'm not going to get everything out. It's not always able to do that, predominantly because, again, the bony part of the ear canal is really sensitive. You can see the ear is quite red. There's a lot of erythema there, and that's because this wax and skin plug was so severely impacted. It's compressed against the canal walls, and it can irritate the periosteum, which is a thin membrane, if you like, which sits directly on the bone, and it nourishes the bone. It provides it with all the blood and nutrients that it needs to regrow and heal itself. There's a bit at the floor. The deeper bits are left because we're getting a bit of clarineting there. Sometimes when you perform microsuction, it can be really noisy when you suction skin, so you need to know when to stop, really. So that's that plug. And on the right hand side, you'll see around 3 o'clock there's like coils of dead skin. It's oxidized, and also at the top of the plug. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. I will upload their left ear tomorrow. Again, you won't be disappointed. Thank you. Take care. Bye.